Welcome to Code Creative. I'm Travis Tolson, and with us as always is Sarah Tolson.
I swear I thought you were going to not push the button again and be like, are you ready? Really this time?
Are you ready now?
I'm going to slap you.
All right, so this time around we've got some changes coming.
Yes. Are they
Um,
good changes? Is this like daily underwear changes or more monumental changes? Changes. What kind of changes? Nah, you don't get to put me on video when I say
no, we're flipping to you on that one. So
I'm sorry, you can't have a serious moment on this. This is your fault. You called it live and was like, oh yeah, if my wife pops in the background, it's okay.
well, and that's a large part of the reason for the changes that we've got coming is
Because you think I'm
we're
awesome.
yes, you are awesome, and unfortunately, you've spent most of these episodes just being colorful commentary in the background. It's
Well,
been kind of
it's
tragic.
it's fun, and I don't want people knowing I can do stuff because then they're gonna expect me to do stuff, and that's no fun.
Well, but see, the truth is that you can do stuff, and so far we have been largely kind of leaving you on the bench.
I was over on the
I was
bench.
over on the bench. So, um, but yeah, I really wanted to incorporate more of your skills, both just into the show in general, but also in this specific project. And I mean, over the last, what, 3 episodes, 4? I forget how many we've been doing the Docker Node.js.
Yeah,
I mean, it's taken us three
it's
three or 4 episodes just to get set up, just to
yeah.
get started. Um,
I'm bored. Go back to ServiceNow. Cover the CSS and get back to me.
Well, and that's kind of the direction that, we've behind the scenes have decided to take is we're going to bring this current DevTools project back to the ServiceNow platform and not in this episode, but in one of the episodes coming up. I'm planning on letting you drive for a change
I
and
don't
lead
want to
us
drive. Have you
and
seen me drive? Like I am every female stereotype when I drive, and yet here you are.
nonsense.
Okay.
Nonsense.
Okay, I can drive. And I can, like, as we've developed these dev tools, I'm like, I want an easy way to use this and access this. So you and I have started talking about what a service portal experience would look like for
Mm-hmm.
these dev tools and everything. So my brain is like on all the little gerbils are doing their thing. You know, I'm on high gear, like, oh, we can do this and blah blah blah. But we have to do the important stuff first and lay down a solid data architecture for how all this is going to come to be before we can start figuring out the UI. However, I would argue that maybe they kind of go hand in hand because, like, I need to know what functionality I actually need. I think in part to determine data architecture,
Mm-hmm.
or not necessarily. Like, how does that like it is? Because I see some people act like design and like the look and feel of it be absolutely the last thing you have to worry about. But how much of that needs to be taken into consideration when you're starting to put together something like this from the data architecture level?
I mean, it really kind of depends, because as you and I have discussed this, this specific project, it's the UI has informed the data model, but the data model has also informed the UI. Like we've gone back and forth on it a lot, where you would make some point, and I would look at my architecture and just be like, this isn't going to work. We got to scrub this and make changes to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really kind of evolved as we've had the conversation back and forth discussing the merits as it pertains to the tools we want to build,
Mm-hmm.
but also the UI.
Pro tip: your UI UX people should be a part of the project early in the process, not as a last resort. A lot of times I see that. like I said, where oh hey, could you just like look this over or just like make it pretty? And, that's why I named that one design that one
Make it
glide
pop.
path. Yeah, I named it Make It Pop, but I did that sarcastically because as designers, a lot of times that's our feedback. Just make it pop. And it's like the most irritating thing to ever hear as a designer. So. If you say that to me, I'll probably punch you in the face. Not really, because I'm only violent behind the scenes. But you know, I keep looking over here at the screen and not like here. So people, I'm not. It's weird. So anyway, but yeah, we've largely found that much like our entire existence working in this platform together, one's experience informs the other to make whatever it's going to be. Because ultimately, yeah, you talk about a data architecture, and I'm like, I need a picture. I need something concrete that I can marry this to, because I am not an abstract thinker at all, and it's been really great to see how the two have like worked in tandem. So I would definitely encourage any kind of project team that you're on, if there's going to be any kind of UI element, make sure the people that are going to be developing and designing that UI are in that room helping make those decisions from the ground up. Because otherwise, it's going to be a really subpar experience. You can't just slap a coat of paint on something ugly and make it work, So anyway, diatribe over.
Yeah, and well, I definitely agree. I mean, like I said, we have been going back and forth on this both from a UI and a data architecture perspective, and you are far beyond the better between the two of us when it comes to the UI side. So
hey, you don't have to like point out the specificity I miss in my CSS anymore. I'm very proud of that fact.
But it's what you bring to the table on the UI side has really helped inform the data model that I'm going to show here in a moment, and it really has been a back and forth. And so I'm hoping in future episodes to really start to, give you a little more space to kind of show what you're capable of. Because I think it sucks that you've spent so many episodes sitting in the background just commentating in peanut gallery. It's
I even
silly.
had the idea to either stream or do episodes or at least write blog articles to capture some of the process that I'm going to do off screen for this, because we'll be deving and like actually putting it together here on your site. But I do have a blog that I barely ever get to post to because life. But would love to show some of the design activities and some of the different ways a lot of this comes together. So when you see the finished design, there's like you kind of see the process behind it, because I've had a couple people ask me to kind of share how that process comes together instead of just like poof, magic portal.
Yeah, there have been a number of folks asking to see that process, and it's awesome to watch it work.
No, it's not. It's awful. Ask any designer how watching their process goes. They'll be like, oh, it's precious.
It's not awesome being the glorified mouse cursor that you are driving.
I'm trying to process what you just said.
Boeing.
Oh. Well, I had fun with that. So way before I actually started working in ServiceNow, I've been like ghost working on ServiceNow for ages. Ever since Service Portal like first became a thing, right?
Yeah, you've pretty much been the reason that any of the portals I've done have looked good.
Yeah, I'll like walk by him in the background, and I'm like at the time working as like a city clerk or whatever, and I'm like, that ain't gonna work. So the project he's referring to, we put the project up on our TV. And he'd sit there and I'd be like, move it this way, move it that way, make it bigger, So I had fun with it, and I thought that it turned out pretty good, being that we were both very new at the idea of design at all, and the client did not give us hardly any specifications. I thought it was fun. I don't know why you didn't think it was fun. You followed directions very well.
Yes, the Marine Corps trained me well.
Yes, it did.
So with that, let's go ahead and start
looking at the data architecture.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and jump in and start looking at the direction we're going to be taking next, and we'll actually dive into an instance, which I actually just blew off my personal dev instance, refreshed everything, so we're ready to go.
How rude. Wait, so how does this roll off of, like, the last episode to connect to everybody? We finished setting up everything, and we actually did a test run where you, from the code thing, because I have a headache and I cannot think, but the outside of ServiceNow code thing, Visual Studio. Jeez. Okay. But we, from Visual Studio, connected to the ServiceNow instance from the code you wrote to take the login credentials and get into your PDI. And we implemented something called graffiti, where we wrote a little message on the, it wasn't the logs.
Sarah was here. It was on the sysaudit table.
Yes, you know, with the WUZ bad spelling and everything. It was glorious. It made my day. But it just to show what the process was of actually getting into an instance and saying, here, you can do something.
Right.
So from there, from that jumping off point, what are we going to cover tonight before we dive into this data architecture?
Well, so we're kind of going to piggyback on the same basic process. I mean, the whole idea here is that we are going to connect to other ServiceNow instances, other data sources. We're going to collect data in order to inform our development process. You know, that may be collecting metrics so that we can see how people are using the existing system. Maybe that's doing instance comparison where we're comparing records across multiple instances to see, are they the same? Are they different? What's different? Maybe it's a code analysis tool to find, violations of best practices. But the same high-level idea exists in all of those, that the goal is to collect data, process that data into some reportable format. And so... Visual format, which is where you come in.
You almost pushed the button, but you missed the look I gave you.
I did.
You gotta get Anyway, so that's the whole thing, is collecting the data and processing it so we can use that data to improve whether it's our client or our own organization's instance and the experience that our users are having.
Yes, exactly. So with that, let's kind of jump into the data architecture that we've been sketching out, which awesome is
man,
I just like having it there as a background, so it's not my cluttered desktop. All right, so this is kind of the data model that I am working with. So let's kind of zoom in here. So basically, our data model starts out with the minion table, because now the now Army Knife name is going away. What did we decide on?
Lipstick Taser.
All right, so that's the new name of the tool, is Lipstick Taser. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Come on, like there's just so much imagery and it's just.
I am looking forward to what you were able to do with this. But so the minion tables is our ServiceNow instance, but there are other data points non-ServiceNow related that I plan on connecting to as well in the future. So I didn't just want to call it the instance table. So I referred to it as the minion table.
Yes,
it does the work.
Collect and crunch data for your own nefarious purposes.
Minion.
Yes.
Do my bidding.
Yes.
And of course, the minion, I have to have credentials for that. I have to have access to that minion for it to do work.
If you call this variable like henchman license under the hood, it will make me so happy.
I will see what I can do.
But yeah, that's like where you store your username and password.
Right.
And you were telling me that you want to have the ability for multiple credentials to be assigned to a single minion, correct?
Yes.
In case you have multiple logins or what have you.
Yeah, I mean, you may need different integrations. You may not want to give full admin access to this tool. You might want to give, a very specific integration access just to query one specific table.
Yeah. Or maybe we build a tool that is for the end user and we need to log in as an end user without a lot of rules to analyze like how it's going to look to them.
Right. So in case you need to connect to multiple applications that are owned by, that have multiple different product owners, and therefore you're granted different users with different access, there are cases where you might need multiple credentials. So I'm going to support that up front just in case.
That sounds like something that could go in the portal.
Possibly.
The ability to add minions and edit and delete them, and to add credentials.
Yep.
And edit and delete different credentials.
Yes. And then...
And set one as a default.
Potentially. I don't know if we'll need to set as default. We'll have to see. But next up is you've got the job definition, and that is the script that actually executes the job. Now, some folks might wonder, why not use the scheduled job table or the ECC queue or literally any number of different options that are available? And the simple answer is that I look at a lot of ServiceNow's tables through the lens of a feature. Scheduled jobs is for executing periodic scripts. ECC queue is for mid-server. Each of these exposes a specific feature in the platform. I don't want to tie myself to one specific feature. True, I may want a scheduled job to execute my job definition, but I might also want a business rule to execute my job definition.
Oh yeah, I run into a case with a client of mine where I had to set up both because we were caching filter options, and it was based off of what was actually on the table. And yet, we want that to update whenever you change the filters, but you also don't want to refresh that every time someone updates the data. So we ran a scheduled job.
Right.
So you need options. You got to keep your options open. So here you have commitment issues.
And yes.
That's not a good thing to tell your wife.
But so the other thing that I might want to do is I might want to go back to the Docker style mid-server. That tool is not dead. That the main shift here is we are going to shift the UI back to ServiceNow as opposed to having the UI live on Docker. Because I've really got a really talented person that can help me with that, as opposed to having to do it all on my own.
It's a lot of fun to watch it's a lot of fun to watch the visual come to life.
It is. And, but I may still be able to use the Docker NodeJS as like worker nodes for handling some of these larger jobs.
Oh, yeah.
ServiceNow can only do so much work on its own.
That's right. You were telling me, and that way you can have multiple threads of a job going at the same time to process it faster.
Exactly. So by having a job definition table and a job execution table that is separate from ServiceNow's native implementations, I can choose which features I want to use with the job definition and which features I don't want to use just by implementing those additional aspects. So this puts the control in our application as opposed to in the ServiceNow platform.
Yeah, that's always good. So, so minions are the actual like instances or data sources that we're hooking into.
Yes.
Credentials are just basically your login. And the job definition is actually that thing you're telling you're telling it to do.
Yes, the job definition is the unit of work.
Okay.
So then you've got the job execution, which is basically where I say that, run this job definition on this minion with this credential.
That's the actual part you would, and this is where we were struggling because I needed a picture, but that would be the actual part that you expose the UI.
I don't think I don't think that will actually be exposed to the UI.
That's not like the execute button. Run this job.
So the execute button is going to run a series of jobs in the UI. So like when you click on the execute for a specific tool, it may run multiple jobs behind the scene. And it will be inserting records into that job execution table.
Okay.
So you will be using it. I just don't know that you'll be showing a list of job executions.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
maybe.
So this is the conversation that we've been having where I'm like, okay, in my head I see this thing as the buttons and the interface and everything like this.
Yeah.
Because I am not an abstract thinker, as I said. So I need you to connect the abstract concepts to, okay, is this what the button does? No, that's not.
We will likely add some additional tables, like what we were talking about was having tools where a tool or a job batch, where that batch of job definitions gets executed for a particular minion,
Yeah.
or by a particular minion. So there's probably some other entities out here that we're missing that will end up tying into the UI.
Okay.
The result of the job execution is going to be one of a series of output models.
Because there's certain definitive types of data that you're going to be
Yeah, there's certain types of visualizations. I mean, you're dealing with line chart, bar chart, pie chart. There's different types of charts.
Star chart. I'm being funny.
To a certain extent, yes, actually.
Really? Okay.
That would probably be closer to the graph model, which is
So
down
you can
here.
have a status message that says your instance is in retrograde.
Ouch.
Oh, that gets funnier the more I think about it.
But so you've got the time series, the time series data model, which is a lot of your more traditional chart graphics, line, bar, pie. So you can record time series data, which time series data can easily be rebuilt into other types of data series. Status reports, where you've got a status report, a series of entries where the status is being reported on each one. So that would be for like an instance health scan.
Yeah.
What is the status of each of these checks? Snapshot is for instance comparison. I need to take a snapshot of documents in instance A, a snapshot of documents in instance B, and compare them. And then you've got the graph output model, which is you have this would be useful for stuff like how do your script includes relate to one another? If I wanted to walk the tree of script includes or a tree of nested widgets, what scripts does this widget touch? And it could give you a report that shows all of the script includes and all of the widgets in the nested order of how they are interconnected.
Nice. Kind of like the map that you inevitably need to correctly clone the header menu widget.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So imagine being able to select a widget and have an output report that says this is everything that's connected to it. That is what you would use the graph report style for. And obviously we can add other data models, but the gist of this is that we are providing a specific data model that is most efficient for different types of output that we're going to be reading in our UI.
And if nothing else, this is a really good start because this captures a lot of the use cases that I know that the two of us have been thinking of. So.
Yep. And these tables, these output tables are ones that you're going to be dealing a lot with because that's where you're going to be querying your data from to build the service portal widgets. So that's kind of what we're dealing with from an architecture perspective. So with that,
I love how streamlined it is.
Let's get a start. Yeah, it's taken us a little while to get that hammered out.
Man, we've been talking about this since we got off work at 5, right? And we were talking about it in the line at Wendy's, and I'm thinking, man, we're having a good conversation here. We should be recording this. But anyway, so what's our we've got a data architecture defined in our little chart thing here.
Yeah, so now we actually want to start building our our application.
So do we start with? Are you going to use the new App Engine thingy?
I am not using App Engine Studio. I'm not using AES, and that's just a.
You're old and don't want to use the new hotness.
Part of it's that. Part of it is I've heard from too many folks that it's not quite ready yet. The maturity's not there yet. Much the same as the UX framework. The maturity isn't quite there yet.
And it's gonna grow, and it has so much.
It's
potential,
gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. We just need another version or two behind it.
I really love that the space themed cloud picture they had going on there. That was cool.
So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna create a new application.
This is just like a scoped out thing.
Let's get started. Yeah, this is just a scoped app.
Oh,
so
you do the same thing in Studio.
Are we really going with lipstick taser?
I don't want that to be the I don't know. Now I'm having second thoughts. Can we rename it later?
Not well. I mean, we can rename this. We can't rename the scope.
Oh, we can't rename this. Oh, well, the scope name can be Lipstick Taser. The name of the app.
We can change the public name. So yes, we can call it. It doesn't look like it looks like Lipstick Taser is too long for it. I'm sorry.
You can make the scope name like LP. Yeah, LT.
All right. Even though that's Lieutenant, I'll let it slide.
Well, then make it LTDTS. Lipstick Taser Development Tool System.
LTDS.
Development System.
Okay.
All right. There you go.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, I like how we got stuck on naming the stupid thing. That's the thing we should have spent the time doing. Because like you spent all this time making sure you have perfect variable names.
Naming things is like the hardest thing in development.
It takes everything in me not to make all of my variable names nerd references.
All right, so I'm going to just continue in Studio because I am not a fan of the step-by-step process. It just annoys me, honestly. So first thing, I do need to create a role, and that's going to be the overall app admin role. And I'm not really going to give it a description yet. I may go back and fix that later.
The difference between this and like big admin is that people can manage this application without having access to the everything.
Yes, exactly. And this admin doesn't actually have the ability to do anything yet.
You have to assign it access thingies.
Right.
But then it's ready for us to do so. And then
Next, we're going to create a module.
So it shows up in the application navigator.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to do a mobile module and have it available in the mobile app?
Maybe. Not yet. Roles is going to be LTDS admin. And, oops, I didn't want a module. I wanted an application. Application menu. That guy.
Oh. That's like, so it's a big thing with everything under it, right?
Yes. That's going to give you, here we can close this. That's going to give you one of these guys, like system applications and system properties, one of the collapsibles in the menu.
Oh, okay. I thought you could do that for modules and just select different things.
Modules is what you add under the applications, like right there.
But there's like a separator one or something like that.
There is a separator one, yes. That's for the mini collapsibles. So then I'm going to go to my application settings. And the menu is going to be...
This is so much easier than what we've been doing. I'm like, I understand this. I mean, I understood the other stuff too, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's
more familiar. It's a comfort place.
I think it's more than that, though. And this is one of the other reasons I wanted to move back to the platform is because the platform's just faster. I mean, you have a database, you have credentials, you have authentication, authorization. There's all of these standard mechanisms already put in place that in order to do the same thing on Docker Node.js, you have to re-implement all of that. So here I can just swing for the fences. So now we can start creating our tables. So
it was role. You create your roles, and then you create your application menu, and then you start creating the tables.
And then I added those to the settings.
Yes. What do you mean you added them to the settings?
I added it to the application settings. Added the menu and the role to the application settings.
Oh.
So this way, what happens when I set a user role and I create a table, On the access controls, you'll notice that it defaults.
It goes ahead and has the user role.
Right.
I learned something new today.
Right. And also when you, if you choose to create a module, you'll notice that it automatically has,
puts it under there and you
right.
don't have to,
And that's because I put that menu under application settings. So now it's going to help automate some of those steps a little bit.
That's nice. I did not know that. That'll save me some steps. Application, you know, I've been developing in Service Portal for a little bit now, and I tell you what, application development is a whole nother ball game. It's next level. It's fun, but it's next level. So what fields are we doing here? Are these going to be... Oh, you've already got it listed out on your little thing, and you can't show both at once. But those were the different things you had in your boxes on the
this is coming from my data model. Now some of it I'm going to leave out for the time being because I'm just going to go with the basics.
Just getting it set up because I mean I think just
I'm not going to do URL. I'm going to do string for that one.
I think everybody that would sit here and listen to us is already pretty adept at adding variables to a table.
That's a long URL.
Man, I don't know. What's the difference? I think the URL field allows you to lock it so you don't accidentally do something dumb.
I don't know. It may control the length of the field under the hood, but visually it does add the lock to it as well. What I'm concerned about though is that I may need this URL to be dynamic. I may have to inject parameters into the URL, and I don't know if the URL field will.
Yeah.
It may throw an error on me saying that it's an invalid URL, and I cannot have that happen.
Be safe. Use a string field.
So, true. Application access. Now, this is the default application access that I most often use.
All scopes.
It maximizes permission. It allows access from all scopes, but the color access is tracking. Sometimes I'll do restricted, and this is kind of the default application access that I usually give. This allows other applications to leverage your table, do stuff with your table without, people having to change your application. Yeah. So this makes your application more extensible, and it still allows you the ability to track who's using it, right?
Who's looking at it and all
right,
that.
Right. Now, if you need higher security, you can always go to higher security.
That seems like a good balance.
Yeah, to me, this is a good balance.
So I noticed you have read, create, update, and delete checked.
Jace has joined in. He is late. And
okay, we have to explain lipstick taser.
So yeah, Jace, basically we're taking the Now Army Knife app that we were creating on Docker Node.js, and we decided that both to leverage Sarah's skills on UI more, her skills with Service Portal.
I think he's the one that wanted to know how to Sarah, so
he was one of the ones that wanted to. In future episodes, we're going to have Sarah take the wheel and teach us how to Sarah.
So are you going to fill in the very important role of cheesy jokes?
I'll try. I'll bring the puns.
Oh, God. Puns. But anyway. Instead of building it on Node.js Docker, we're bringing it back to the platform so that we can A, build it faster, and B, leverage Sarah's skills on Service Portal. And we have called the new version of this tool Lipstick Taser because we're taking a Despicable Me spin on it. Yeah. That's Lipstick Taser is from the movie Despicable Me 3, where the spoiler alert, the lady that Gru ends up marrying, she was like, dude, you don't call out the name of your weapons before you use them. You do it after you use them. Then she tases him with a tube of lipstick and goes, lipstick taser. So And with him calling the main instances like minions, I was like, oh, well, we've just got to go with it.
So we embraced it.
Yes, we did. So you have successfully made the minions table, or we're still working?
I have successfully made the minions table.
I cannot wait to do this portal in minion colors. Oh
All
my gosh.
scopes, color tracking, boom, boom, boom.
Easter egg bananas everywhere.
Banana. Okay, let's see. Credential, live feed, don't need auto number. And okay, then, so the credential field, of course, is our login credentials. So we need a reference to minions.
Look at you being all fancy and not going into the actual record.
What you mean?
When I first started doing tables, I would like go into the record for a new column and make it.
Oh, yeah.
I do it this way now, but
I love how fast it is.
mm-hmm.
Type, choice, and username is going to be a string field. And I think 255 ought to accommodate everything we need.
So while you're doing that, Jace is asking what kind of fun stuff we're going to do in here specifically. Basically, we're going to make a we're building the data architecture now, but we're going to eventually take the developer tools we've been discussing and build them into a portal that you can use to access different instances and run different jobs to do analysis on the instance and stuff like that. So a lot of those developer tools we're bringing into ServiceNow to have that, and then you'll have all the reports there available in your ServiceNow portal and everything like that.
Okay, so you may be wondering what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, what are you doing right now?
So a password field, you obviously don't want to show that password in plain text. You want to encrypt it in the database.
Oh, I've got mine on a Post-it note on my monitor. I'm kidding. Oh my gosh.
Why do you do this to me?
Because I love making you have a heart attack.
But so ServiceNow offers two different types of password fields. Password one-way encrypted and password two-way encrypted. And I was checking just to make sure I remembered which one was which. Basically, the password one-way encrypted allows you can't get the original password back. So like you would turn around and you would hash the password and check it's basically for logging in.
Yeah.
You turn around and you process the password the same way. You compare the result of the submitted password against the hashed and salted password that's stored in the database. And if they match, then it's the same. A two-way password actually allows you to get the original password back out, which obviously is what we need because we need the original password. So
At
we
least
want.
I don't write it on the wall like Jay says. He's seen some people do.
No. Why?
Oh.
I am hurt.
I'm sitting here like, but you paint those walls. You don't write passwords on them.
So that gives us our credential table. Not the password, but the algorithm to make it.
That's just as bad.
First initial of first name plus...
That's like answering those Facebook posts of like basically giving away your security question information. I'm looking at you, boomers. Or what are we making next? More tables?
More tables. I'm still building out the data model. So next we got the job definition. All right, job definition, I need to inherit from sys metadata. This is what makes it an application file that gets captured in update sets.
Yeah.
So job definitions...
Oh.
Job definitions I want captured in the application.
Okay. So this is why in some of my applications, when I port them over, all of the little records that I make don't capture an update set.
Yes.
So
Yes.
do you have to extend the application file table in order to get this functionality?
Yes. Now, there used to be a UI
So
action.
Jace didn't know this either.
Yeah, so there used to be a UI action where after creating a table, you could scroll down here and there was some link you could click in the related links that would add the extension after the fact. But it has to do a bunch of hacking around, some ServiceNow magic in the back end to reassociate the links.
That doesn't sound fun, and it's not anything I want to do.
No. And there were some known issues where doing it after the fact, if the job didn't execute properly, if there was an error for any reason, it would break, and then ServiceNow would have to come in and fix it behind the scenes.
Gotcha.
By extending the application table up front, you alleviate all of those concerns. There's no risk of that breaking after the fact.
These are all those little details that you kind of have to learn on your own that no training or anything will actually teach you, as far as I know.
Yeah,
and it's like this is the good stuff here.
There is absolutely no substitute for crying at midnight in pain because you are dealing with these issues on a client project that's due the next day.
Yes, there is. There's doing it while hammered.
And crying in pain at midnight when the client project is due the next
I've
day.
actually done that. I've never drank
Yeah,
and tried to code.
Jay says there used to be an attribute you could add to it as well. There is. That is the sync update, I think it is. SYNC_update.
But it doesn't exist anymore.
I don't know if it still works or not. There are performance implications around it. And the other thing is, I don't know if they updated the behavior of that attribute to reflect the sys metadata table. Sys metadata didn't always exist in ServiceNow. It's one of the, when scoped applications were added, it was a way of tracking what files existed in that application. Mm-hmm. So sys metadata is only as old as scoped applications.
And both of y'all's careers on ServiceNow is older than that.
Yep. SYNCH_update, Jay says. Yeah, that sounds right.
That's not how you spell sync.
So
That's going to bother me.
Synchronize.
Well, I know that, but you've been asked if you can start the Tolson Academy. He did on his blog. He's got like guides and stuff. It's awesome. And why did you initially do those guides, husband?
To teach people. The guides were originally created to help train people into the ServiceNow industry.
Yes.
Very specific people.
Very specific people.
One might be in this room.
Maybe. Maybe not. The other one's a redhead.
Yeah, Jace, I did have the Service Portal class. It is most of that content was transferred into the Service Portal guide. I do want to build more of that type stup out. It's just it's very time consuming.
Me? Oh, that was really off key. Sorry, I am not Hootie and the Blowfish. Is he Hootie or the Blowfish?
Darius?
Yeah.
Pretty sure he's Hootie.
Okay. These are the important questions we ask on Co-Creative Live.
Job execute. No, I'm on job definition. String name. We'll give that one 255.
Why 255? That's a very specific number that I know because colors.
So 255 is the maximum length that you can set a string field to in ServiceNow and still have it be a single line text field. If you put 256 as the maximum length, it will change to a medium text box, which is basically using the text area HTML element.
Why do you know this?
I don't know. Because ServiceNow has abused me for many years.
Yes, it has. Well, I am glad it has abused you because that's really good stuff to know.
So Jay says the Docker thing, I was planning on doing command line NodeJS stuff, right? Not necessarily. Jace the Docker thing I was doing was actually going to be what we are now building on ServiceNow. So what we're building right now is what I was going to build on the Docker Node.js.
So it's the same functionality, just
Same.
putting it in platform.
Yes, identical functionality. We're just putting it in platform because way faster. And I have other talented people that are willing to volunteer their time to assist.
I get paid very well.
Willing to volunteer their time.
I don't know, that chocolate fudge brownie ice cream in the freezer says otherwise.
No, Jace, we're not abandoning the Docker aspect of it. So the Docker, I am holding on to that project. I am very likely to reach a point where the jobs that I want to run from ServiceNow, so to give you an example of one of the jobs that I want to run, the CDC has a data set of about 28 million COVID cases. And I have been running a number of things on my own using Excel and a couple of other hack together tools to process some of that case data, to analyze various trends and to build various models for tracking the COVID outbreak and tracking how things have been running. But again, it's 27 million rows. It is a huge data set. Okay, not a huge data set. I've worked with larger, but it is time consuming to download. It is time consuming to process. And having multiple workers to process that data set would be a huge advantage. It would dramatically reduce the time it takes. And if I could automate it, then I could have this stuff run daily without me having to do anything with it. So instead of running it once every 2 weeks, every 2 to 4 weeks, I can now run it every day. Improving the accuracy of the models that I'm running. And this is one of the best data sets I've had to test some of my statistical models and stuff that I've been building. This is one of the best data sets I've ever had access to work with. So it's been a lot of fun for me, but it being that large may require multiple worker nodes to process all of it in a timely fashion. So ServiceNow, I don't want to bog down an instance with those details, but if I can use the Docker Node.js workers to offload the work, yes, 27 million rows. So if I can use the Docker nodes to process smaller segments of those data sets and then funnel the processed data into the ServiceNow instance, I can use ServiceNow as the orchestration tool for the jobs, the Docker Node.js tools as the worker nodes, similar to a mid server, but I can equip it with the tools that I want and not have to do it in Java packages. 27 million records would be fun to do some performance comparisons between the old import sets versus robust transforms. Absolutely. The parallel capabilities on ServiceNow I've been really interested in messing around with. So might have to dig into that one. But yeah, that's kind of how the Docker tool is going to shift in this, is it's going to be more of what I originally intended, which was closer to a mid server. And so we need script field. And that gives us the...
Are you like a self-professed data nerd?
Oh my God, yes.
This certainly sounds like it.
I mean, before I ever got into computers, I was into Lean Six Sigma and, processing data. And I mean, I got into IT because of Excel and Access.
I remember you doing the Visual Basic and Excel and all that back in the day. Because even that was better than some of the tools the military uses.
The military's still using one of the tools that I built in Microsoft Access.
Oh my gosh. They're probably still benefiting from your Lean Six Sigma projects too. Like, and you carry that over so well, because even the things you suggest to help streamline the processes for where we work currently, like, are just amazing. It would be very, very useful.
Did I see Mark Scott's 4-minute YouTube video?
No, I'm so out of the loop with everybody. I want to sit in and watch everybody else's stuff. And
Jay says, Travis, Docker, go to the back seat. ServiceNow, get up here. Yep. Docker hit the bench. ServiceNow, you're up.
Speaking of hitting the bench, I think it's time for alcohol to suit up tonight, don't you think? What?
Suit up.
Suit up.
About LinkedIn. No, I don't think I saw.
We'll have
I
to
don't.
watch it
Yeah,
later.
we're gonna have to watch that video. I don't think I've seen that one. Okay, that one did inherit an application file. This one does not.
Why not? You're
Because
not
this
gonna
is
have all of them do it?
this is no. So this one is job execution. So you want to inherit application, the application file, sys metadata. You want to extend sys metadata when you are dealing with something that should be core to an application or carried in update sets. So job definition fits that description. Job definitions are scripts. They are code that we want to be able to carry in the application.
Yeah.
I don't want to come up with a perfect script for
The analysis of the thing in ServiceNow and then lose that.
and then lose that. Right.
But the job
The
execution table.
the minion, the instances I'm connecting to, the credentials I'm using, the job execution, which is the actual, hey, go do this. None of that I want to carry in update sets. I don't know. I may get to the point where I want minion and credential too. That's a possibility, but
I could see job execution being something you want to carry over more
No.
so than minion and credential, but maybe I just don't understand it that way.
job execution is like the actual run. So like, hey, go pull the data from the CDC right now. So every time I pull data from the CDC,
Oh,
that's
this
going to
is
be a
where
new
it goes.
execution.
Oh yeah, you don't need to carry.
So yeah,
Okay,
I definitely don't want to
understand
hear.
now. Tracking.
Color tracking.
Tracking.
I can try here, but I think the chat excludes links.
He's just gonna send us the.
Okay. Cool.
More tables.
Job definition.
Are you setting the tables?
What do you mean?
Oh, I'm making a
Oh.
play of words. Off
I missed that one. Sorry. Job definition. And then we want. So with each job execution, we are going to execute a particular job
Should give him a chance to live.
with a particular credential.
Mm-hmm.
Execute them all.
I'm so funny.
State is going to be a choice. And start time.
Oh no, not glide date time stuff.
Yes.
Ugh.
Dang it.
So do you want in the portal to have any access to creating or editing jobs themselves? I didn't think so. I figured that would be more of a stays on the back end sort of thing.
Sorry, say it again.
Did you want to be able to have any access to like edit or create jobs from the portal? I was assuming not, because I figured from the portal you just want to run existing and view reports and all that.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be the latter. Mostly just executing jobs and viewing the reports.
See, now Jace is making funny puns. You really choose
Can anyone
your
really?
state?
I'm liquid, I'm solid, I'm gas.
What's the one that Nathaniel brings home that's not liquid or solid? What is it called again? It's like a mush, like gack.
I don't know.
It's called something weird. And keep doing your table thing. Dude, I could be doing this and you could be talking about like whatever. This is easy stuff. But we've already learned like 3 things about extending tables properly and why you would do 255 and not 256 characters. 256 is the
Oh, there's the track and update sets link.
oh, there it is. So sometimes it's there and sometimes
It's there on creation now. It used to be there on update as well, but now it's only there on creation. And I'm assuming that what it does now is just add. It's just a client side.
Do it. Let's find out.
No.
Oh.
I can't risk that on a table that I don't want that applied to.
Well, you could just like delete the table and do it over.
Man, you do not mess with sys metadata. That is one thing you don't goof off with is sys metadata. That table's
And the form
mean.
widget. That's the other thing you don't mess with.
True. Definitely don't mess with the form widget.
What else you got?
All right, so I am going to keep the job result tables simple for now. I'm just going to do the time series type.
So you're going to do one of them, and we'll just know that the other ones will be there.
Yeah.
Jace is right. Deleting never works how you think it should. Like, I learned this the hard way in my own app development adventures. Like, there's deleted records, and then you have to delete the deleted records, and like, if you've already published, then those deleted records never really actually go away, and it's
So frustrating.
yeah. You saved me a little bit of frustration there, but yeah.
Description. 4,000 is just the medium length field. If you use the old school method of creating tables and you select a medium length string field, it'll set it to 4,000. So that's why I'm choosing that number. That one's fairly arbitrary, I think.
What happens if you go over 9,000? You have no answer.
You can technically go up to 65,000, I believe. It might be slightly more than that.
Well, bye, Jace. It's been good to talk to you.
See you, Jace. Thanks for joining in.
We have 4 people joining now.
So then reference. And I'm going to point that to the job
He's
execution.
sad about Docker, so you're going to have to, like, do some Docker love for him. I'll have to, like, check in on it, dust it off.
Chase says it's over 9,000. Your people always find you, honey.
My people always find me. If y'all don't know the significance of something being over 9,000, just like Google that in Dragon Ball Z and just educate yourself. You know, there wasn't a lot of Dragon Ball Z stuff at Dragon Con this past weekend.
No?
It was a bunch of Lokis. Oh, so many Lokis. It's great though.
Which Loki was your favorite?
I think the President Loki I saw was my favorite. It was the most well done. But the other thing that I really loved was the people in the alligator onesies with the Loki horns being alligator Loki. That was outstanding. And then everything else was just kind of. I mean, I saw some really great. I think my favorite one though was Lydia from Beetlejuice. I showed you the picture of that in her red.
Oh
wedding
yeah,
dress.
that one was awesome.
It's amazing. Hi, Paige. I had to talk about Beetlejuice to get Paige to speak up. You see that?
Hi, Paige. Let's see, good time.
So after we set up the tables to the data architecture, what are we going to be looking at next?
Oh no.
What do you mean you don't know? Whatever.
I'm not there yet.
I'm going to start picking out colors and building you a portal. I don't need to gather requirements or ask the user what the user needs. I already know. I'm just going to do things and you're going to like it.
Lord have mercy.
Yes, Beetlejuice.
All right, so one thing I want to point out here on this time series data point table, I've selected the floating point number.
What the heck is that?
Okay, so computers are really bad with decimals. Basically, floating point number is a way that computers internally represent decimals. And it's
good to have representation.
It is. But it's for computers it's inaccurate. So there's some rounding that goes on in there. So like for example 1/3. 3 3 3 3 3 repeating, you can't actually represent an infinite repeating number.
Oh, so they like truncate it?
So it's a little more than truncating. I'm not going to claim to understand all the nuances of how they actually store it. But the simple thing that you have to know is that floating point numbers are not precise decimals. And this is true of JavaScript math as well, because internally decimals are represented as floating point numbers in JavaScript. So if you are doing math and you need like high precision financial calculations, you really shouldn't use JavaScript decimals or the floating point number in the database. What you would really want to do is have a mechanism for storing it as an integer or a long, and then indicating how many decimal places there are.
Okay. But this is just a way that it handles...
Yeah. But it's important to know, because we're collecting metrics on this. It's important to know that, this is not financial transaction precision. It's good for most data, but if you need picture perfect precision, scientific accuracy precision, you might not be able to trust a floating point.
But for our purposes, this is pretty
more than adequate. More than adequate. Carlos says a few days ago he needed to compare 2 currency fields. Ooh.
That sounds like fun.
That sounds like pain. All right.
How many more tables you got to go?
I think that's good for setting up the basic tables.
Okay.
That gives me a structure that I can start with. And in case y'all missed it, this is kind of this is the data architecture we're running off of. Basically, it's a job runner that is going to go out, fetch data from other instances and other data endpoints, and then process it into some of the reportable result models. Time series reports, status reports, snapshots, and graphs. And basically, I'm planning on taking a bunch of my statistical analysis type toolkits that I've got floating around, like the ones that I used for the salary survey, and I'm going to centralize them into a tool that can run all kinds of powerful stuff.
And I'm going to put it into a UI that makes you actually want to use it.
You are. And it is going to be glorious.
I don't know. I haven't determined if it's going to be actually glorious or if I'm going to use it to troll you.
Why would you do that?
You're talking to the person that did work for NASA and wanted to put an Easter egg rocket ship somewhere in the portal.
Well, see, I'm okay with that. That's not trolling. I'm good with the Easter eggs. But, like, if you make it look like it was drawn with crayons...
there's a font
and
for that.
And put text on it that says, "Travis, don't eat this."
That's funny. I like that idea. Do not lick your screen. But anyway, so this is the data model that we are going for. That is going to be the foundation for this application that we're building.
Yes.
Which is going to house a number of tools that assist us as developers, analyzing the state of an instance, analyzing usage metrics and different things like that, so we can better do our jobs and determine what the best course of action is to implement and do things. Yes.
So the next steps is going to be actually building out the job runner, basically the scripts that process this job execution. Now, time check here. How are you feeling? Do you want to start on that? Do you think this is a good stopping point? Bless you.
Thank you. This is probably a good stopping point because though you code really quickly, as much as we run our mouths while we're coding.
True.
And then that'll give me some time to bother you with requirements gathering stuff for the portal in the meantime. Because if you've got the architecture and you know the basic functionality that you're looking for, that's enough to at least get started on some requirements gathering, some discovery activities for the UI. Yeah. Oh, I'm all slunched over and everything So maybe we can do that off camera, and if I feel like it, I can put that either in a blog article, or we can record it and I'll put it on a blog or something separate. So, because I know we want to keep this focused on development and building the tool, but I do think there's a lot of value to be had in showing those processes. So maybe, and we were talking about this earlier tonight, but maybe that's something that we can work on between this week and next week. And yeah, by the way, we did take 2 weeks off. One of them was because the baby was sick and we were sick and we were all miserable, and then the week after that I was at DragonCon. Because priorities. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I for one think it would be good to see a lot of the process. I don't know. I think some of the discussion would be good to have on air, and I definitely think that like the mock-ups and the drawing and kind getting your thought process behind why you make some of the decisions that you make in the UIs that you're building. You know, because I mean that's a large part of why we kind of chose to move back to the platform for this as opposed to Docker Node.js, is because you've got them service portal superpowers, and you know, I think seeing a lot of that process that you go through would do a lot. I know I enjoy watching it, but everybody else doesn't get a chance to watch you do it.
It's not fun to watch. I keep telling you this. It's kind of a hot mess, but yes, I mean it's valuable to see those processes. One of the things that not only helped, because design can be such a subjective thing that those of us that do it have a hard time feeling like, okay, well, am I actually good, or this, that, and the other? But one of the things that has been so helpful to so many designers in the past, I know, is getting to see people that we venerate as like, oh, this person's really good, and watching them go through their process and realizing it is just as messy as everybody else's. Like the designers that put together your
That was so awesome to watch.
Yeah, your site stuff. Like I did my best effort, but branding isn't my specialty, and I just did not have the time. But they knocked it out of the park, and watching them and watching all of the scrapped ideas and all of the maybes and the would-be's and they have their trash pile just like I have my trash pile. It's like, just don't pay attention to this stuff down here. It's just there for posterity. But seeing the fact that they, I know a couple of them personally, and the work they do is just as messy and weird a process as the one I go through. It's very validating. So in that vein, I don't mind showing off, because design is an imprecise thing in some ways, and I know there are a lot of people that are like, I don't do it. I'm like, really? It's we're all just kind of trying to figure it out. Okay. So, but anyway, yeah, I'll be glad to do some of those activities and maybe post them on my blog so they're not getting in the way of the development here. But that way we can show the two sides of the thing, and I'll actually get something posted on my blog, you know. Or
we could do them all here.
Why are you trying to bring me over? Man, you've got like super cool branding and everything, and I'm just like lazy. I have a color picked out on my blog.
Hey, I like I've told you before, if you want to do it on your blog, I 100% support it. I'm all for it. If you want to do it here, I'm 100% supportive, all for it.
Paige says she wants to see the process.
Oh yeah. I
would have fun sitting there. Paige, you could like sit in there and just heckle me the whole time, and it would make it so much fun. You and Gabby.
I will truly say, whether we do it on Code Creative Live or whether you do it through your blog, I do think it's really worthwhile to show the process. I mean, if you think about what we've been doing on this so far, I mean, we spent 3-4 episodes, whatever it was, doing Docker Node.js for this tool. And tonight decided to scrap it and move in an entirely different direction to make better use of both of our skill sets. So yeah, the process is always a mess. I mean, that's part of the fun.
My friends keep joking that they need to get me a t-shirt that says it's a process. We need to make Code Creative Live shirts that say that. I've been thinking for a long time when you'd like, and this is my ADHD meds have worn off, so just bear with me. But I think we need some like cool ServiceNow like developer swag stuff, but that's not branded by a company or whatever. It needs to be like, it's a process. Tie that into like scheduled jobbers or something like that. I don't know. But yes. Sorry. Okay. But yeah. see if we can't find. We'll capture some of those processes or what have you.
Can totally do it here.
Maybe. I don't know.
All right, we'll see.
I'm really lazy, so you've already got the setup and everything. So if I just tell you, just turn on the camera and I'll do the thing.
I mean, it won't take nothing for us to turn around and slap Portalorum on it and do Portalorum live. You can drive the Portalorums, I'll drive the code creatives, or you can drive the code creative. It don't matter to me. Just as long as the people get to see the sauce that's being made.
Yep.
It is awesome to see talented people at work, and we all want to see your work.
I don't know why. Oh yeah, absolutely. I have fun with it. It's a lot of fun showing off the work that I've done. It's fun to show the projects I've worked with on clients and like how that comes together. So we'll have to look at doing that at some point. I just realized my sunglasses match my candlestick back there, and that is so freaking awesome. Again, ADHD meds have worn off, so there's no helping me. But that being said, because we have to tangent at the end, because that's what we do.
Naturally.
So we have found a good stopping point for this. You've set up the tables for the data architecture. We're going to build this lovely set of tools on. Andrew Barnes just joined. And we're sitting here like wrapping up. And I'm like, no! Because we like you, Andrew. We want to hang out with you and stuff. So we've got the data architecture set up, and now we'll begin the process of looking at what else we need to do to build those tools into something usable. So have you decided what our next step is going to be? Because people are going to want to know what comes next.
Yeah. So I mean, next step is going to be building the job runner itself, the scripts that actually handle the data model that we just created. And I think what we're going to start with is some jobs that pull portal metrics from other ServiceNow instances. So Paige says she noticed like 5 minutes ago.
Right, my purple is on point. I had to replace my purple picture in the background because the Star Wars poster needed to be prominent, but priorities, but purple is the thing. Sorry.
But yeah, so that's kind of the next step. Excited to see the on-camera work.
Thank you. We only had one Andrew tonight. We've had like an Andrew shortage lately.
We have had an Andrew shortage.
But anyway, so that'll be our next steps. Tonight we did the tables, we set up the application scope, we set up the roles in the actual application menu, and then we'll get into actually building some of the jobs and testing them out. And in the meantime, I'm going to look at the next steps we need to take to start putting a UI to that, so it's actually something we want to look at.
Yes. So what I'm kind of envisioning here is next time we'll do the job runner, which is going to take our job execution and related data and process it into our result models, which we're focusing on time series right now. But what we'll probably do is once we set up that job runner, we'll probably create a few different job definitions so that we're collecting a variety of different data, just to demonstrate what this particular architecture can do for us, and maybe push it to the limit with the CDC data just to see
what we can do,
how that runs.
You're just dying. You're only doing this because you are dying to crunch code numbers.
I want that data. I want to crunch those numbers faster. I'm sorry, I do. I want to crunch the numbers faster.
You're adorable, but you are such a data geek. And
I love my statistics.
And I'm glad people like you exist, but I am not... see, statistics was the thing I almost didn't get my master's degree for because I think it's so awful. My teacher took pity on me and sat down and explained it. I did calculus fine, but not statistics. But I'm glad people like you exist to give us the information, the statistics, and all that exists, because I'm going to make great use of the portal metrics that we
stats and machine learning. But I repeat myself.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of the direction we're going. I figure once we get a few of the Paige says she hates stats, the class.
Cloud
But
is so bad.
stats are amazing.
No, it's not. No.
It is.
Anyway, you're gonna bill out some of these job definitions.
I am trying to moneyball my job.
See, Barnes is a data geek too, and I'm just sitting here like,
Yes!
I like knowing things.
Data
like,
Geeks
just,
unites.
Like, quick and dirty. Like,
Well, and that's one of the great
Twitter
things.
link stuff.
And that's one of the great things about this tool is once we have these job definitions in place, we'll be able to kick back and click a button and let the stats run in the background, and you will get to benefit from the results of all that, you know? I would love to get to a point to where we can actually do legit A/B testing in Service Portal or the new UX framework when we get there. Do some legit A/B testing and analyze some of the statistics off of it to, you know, so that when we're going into these UX meetings and you know, you get two UX heads saying, oh, well, this is better. Oh, well, that's better. Well, let's pull out the data and see who's right.
Yeah.
You know, let's stop having subjective arguments around it and see what's actually succeeding.
I am all for that because, like, for example, carousels have been shown again and again as something that's an outdated practice because a lot of times the users only see the first slide, not multiple, and so we try to discourage that and everything. But like Amazon uses it, so it's like, oh, it can't be that bad if somebody with some of the biggest marketing, like data crunchy number money stuff, someone big budget to decide if these things are legit or not. You know, they think it's okay for certain purposes. So what makes it okay versus not? You know.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things I would like to figure out. Now, I still think that the hero carousel is just like a big no. But, yeah. But maybe there are cases, maybe there are instances where an organization's users show it's got really good click-through rate. In that case, we don't want to take it through. And right now, most, if not all, partners in the ecosystem don't gather that kind of data. So
Yeah.
I want to know that because design does matter, and I want the numbers to back up what I already know. So, yes.
Yep. And that's ultimately what we should hopefully get out of this is a tool that can help us run those numbers and also do instance scans because we've got...
see if, oh my gosh, like, so we can tell that the client deleted the, what is it, the ng templates from the header menu widget. So when you're trying to figure out why it's not working, you're like, oh.
Yes,
That
exactly.
actually happened.
Exactly. All those weird things where somebody turns around and says, "Hey, Travis, something went wrong. Can you help figure out what it is?" And I have
to customize a thing and didn't tell anybody.
Yeah, and then I end up sitting down and just looking through update XML files forever, trying to find the answer.
And why do that when you can make a computer do it for you?
Exactly. I'd much rather have the computer do my job for me.
Me too. But the
So
computer doesn't do the design job, and I don't want it to.
No. We'll definitely be computers are much more likely to replace my job anytime soon than yours, so. I mean, I already helped train myself out of the service portal job.
You did.
So,
I don't feel bad for you because I like what I do.
I mean, you and a bunch of the people that we've gotten on our portal team have just been absolutely phenomenal. So I don't regret training myself out of the job.
I don't know. I still whine to you when the JavaScript doesn't work because, I mean, don't get me wrong. I play dumb with JavaScript, but I can do the JavaScript, but I'm going to
do the JavaScript.
That's what I'll need to get a shirt made for. I do the JavaScript. And we get it made in like syntax. Yes. See, I've got so many great ideas for these shirts. But, oh gosh, what was I saying? Lipstick taser. I'm losing my glasses.
I'm dead.
Oh, I broke you. And then you turned the camera off to yourself so they can't see how broken you are.
I'm dead.
Oh gosh. Okay. Wait.
So,
okay. Back up like 5 steps.
So, yeah, that's the direction we're going.
It's gonna be awesome.
That's the direction we're going with this tool. And, there are multiple different output reports. We'll have the data metrics tool. We'll have the status report for like instance scan, health scan, type stuff. How is your instance doing? And unlike a lot of the other tools out there, I plan on doing this with abstract syntax trees as opposed to regex so that you can scan other things like, do you have a nested glide record going on? How deep is the nested glide record? How efficient is the nested glide record? These are all things I can do with an abstract syntax tree that I can't do with a regex. Or, I don't know. I guess technically you can do anything with a regex, but by golly, those things get ugly.
You have shamed me out of nested glide records whenever possible.
Yeah, they kill performance very quickly.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm currently learning about is optimizing performance of an application, widgets, and all that kind of thing.
Every performance issue I've ever encountered has been one of three things: the event queue backing up because of stuff breaking, a nested glide record, or a glide record that did not use a set limit, like thousands of records for no reason. Almost every performance issue I've dealt with has been one of those three things. So yeah, status report on that stuff will be great. Snapshots for instance comparison. Take a snapshot of a baseline, compare it to a snapshot of your instance, compare dev and test,
Oh, I didn't even think about that use case.
Yes.
Compare dev and test.
I migrated my update sets. Why didn't anything work? Well, let's compare and see what's missing. So that's going to be that type tool. And then there's the graph relationship tool, which is your, let's take a look at a widget and see what script includes it's using, see what nested widgets it's using, what all is it related to that isn't being described in the relationships. So lots of potential tools. We're going to start with the time series data, and that's kind of the direction we're going with this. And we'll probably work on it a bit behind the scenes and catch people up on live. We'll try to stick to Thursdays for live.
That's time on Dragon Ball Z, that kind of situation.
Yeah. Previously on Code Creative Live. Oh!
See, this is why you need to get like an intro music thing.
I don't know. Work on it, I guess. I don't know.
Put that on the list.
Find me a good one.
Find you a good one?
Yeah, you find me a good one, I'll go with it.
Oh my god, yeah.
Maybe I'll just use the Good Day one that I used on the old intro.
I think you should. It was a good one.
It's nice and mellow.
All right. So
All
we
right.
have run our mouths enough. We love you people, but it is time for me to go get a snack. I like ending our show with Sarah needs food.
That is how the last couple have ended.
I know. I've like made it a thing, and I'm happy with it.
We'll have to make a shirt. Snack time.
Snack time.
Sarah snack time.
Sarah needs to make ServiceNow shirts. I think it would be hilarious.
It does need to be a thing. I'm all for this.
But I also want to make nerd shirts.
All the above.
Yes. I'm just going to start making t-shirts and hope people buy them. But, all right. So, on that note, we got a lot done tonight, and we know where we're going next time. So, hopefully, the toddler will not get us sick with plague or anything like that, and we will be on next Thursday, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, you have to say goodbye or something now.
I was waiting to see if you were going to do it.
Oh, my gosh. Why are you so mean to me? Okay. Well, until next time, have a good night.